Welcome to another episode of Building Your Business with the Certified Commercial Property Inspectors Association. We're lucky enough in this session to have two of the premier inspectors from north of the border, from 2020 Home Inspections. I've got Lucas and Tyson. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Rob.
So Lucas, why don't you begin with telling us a little bit about yourself, and then where you're located,
Sure.
and a little bit about your background.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm based out of Calgary. I'm from Calgary, Alberta, but I split my time between Calgary and Atlanta, Georgia, with 2020. So my background is primarily in building custom homes, commercial spaces, you name it. So I grew up in the trade space. Every summer, my parents, they had me working while I was playing hockey. When I'd come home, they'd say, you got to get to work. So eventually, when my hockey career ended, I transitioned into my own building firm, Helix Custom Homes. But, I didn't take the traditional college path. I just learned a lot about communication and how to present through the experience of great mentors in my industry.
Okay, so like what?
Like people that were building homes. I was out there slaving it with the guys.
Okay.
Basically working for free, learning, mopping up houses, sweeping up houses, learning how to put a house together until the point where they felt like they wanted to pay me. And really, I tell all the guys, if you want to learn how to build a house, you sweep a house, you keep sweeping a house, and you'll learn how to build a house. And I was just lucky enough to have guys that were willing to have me on site to guide me. And of course, back in the day, they were pretty hard, and being hard is a good way to train guys. Like there's no piddly farting around, and there's no niceness to it, but it surely drives the point home.
It's showing up every day.
Yes, sir.
Caring.
Absolutely.
And gonna do your damn job.
If you can sweep a house good, that means you're probably going to care. And actually, there's a lot to be said about that on my sites when we build homes. Every single trade needs to clean up behind themselves, because the next trade to follow is going to basically look at that as a reflection of the job site and probably do a better job. Yeah.
Before we let Tyson, I mean, that's my background. In college, I actually owned a cleanup crew.
Oh,
nice. I had a professor that built 200 houses a year, and so he hired me to hire other guys, and we cleaned houses every week, both for final as well as just general cleanup and yard work and everything else. So I get it.
You know what I'm saying? Then that's how you learn how to build a house. A lot of guys don't want to do it. Yeah, you need to start somewhere. Yeah, for sure.
Tyson, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I kind of similar. I started out early in the construction industry, working in the trades. I started roofing, and then I got into framing, and I built houses in commercial buildings for a while before putting myself through college for architectural technology. I built both down in the States and here in Canada. I'm originally from Ontario, but I'm out here in Calgary now. I spend time between Calgary and Edmonton here, and more recently out in BC. So after taking my architectural technology, I moved out west here and got into the renovation industry. I worked for one of the larger renovation companies in town here before going off on my own and running my own renovation company for about over 10 years, doing both high-end renovations to homes and doing commercial renovations as well.
So both of you are coming from both probably medium and very high-end residential work. And it sounds like, Tyson, you've got a little bit more of a background in commercial, because you said you built some commercial and did some of that. So what drew you to inspections? You can't get rich in inspections.
You can.
Well, myself, I've always loved buildings and how they're put together, how they perform and how people use them. But I think it was just a natural progression, because I enjoyed more of the education kind of standpoint. Like we're not just here to point out defects. We're here to kind of educate clients on how the buildings work, And I really like all that. Plus, after years of working physically in the trades, it gives you a way to stay connected to the industry without beating up my body.
Well, let me see them. Do you have all 10?
Yeah, yeah, still got all 10.
More or less, right?
Too
Yeah.
funny.
I still
How
got all
about
my fingers as
yourself,
well.
Lucas?
Oh, I got them
mean,
all. I don't know if you
uh,
can see me or not, but I've got all my
yeah.
fingers for sure.
But
Very,
what drew you? What drew you to because you said you had a hockey career.
yeah.
What kind of hockey career were you NHL? Were you
No. I
AHL?
was in the
Were you
minors.
even less? Were you high school?
No. That's not the way in Canada it works. But I mean, I did go over to the USHL in Des Moines. I was down south in Louisiana. I was overseas in Germany, but here primarily
Okay.
WHL, the O. It's pretty big, pretty high caliber. But I mean, it was a great place to see the world and really learn how to play as a team. Really, I think that's one of the biggest things at this company that I focused on was trying to find guys from the building industry. Number one. Number two, if you're an athlete, that's a huge pro for me because this business is all about muscle memory. This business is all about wash, rinse, repeat, going home, stick handling in the garage, and understanding how to use your tools correctly to deliver, number one, an experience, and number two, information to let our clients have a more informed decision other than say just doing the bare minimum. That's one of the reasons why I choose or I like to work with athletes. They like to have a good time. They're very serious and they show up.
Well, that kind of leads us to you have a multi-inspector firm,
Yes, sir.
and it sounds like you have two of them, one in Atlanta, one in Calgary, correct? Or is it all the
That's,
same
it's
world?
all the same under the same umbrella. We have 2020, which is about 72. We could just split it down the middle and say half are in the States or half are in
Mhm.
Canada. We have a sub company called Mr. Poop, which is our sewer division, which is about 15 individuals, but it's spread out throughout North America. And I kind of like that there's a bit of a separation between the two businesses.
It's we talked a little bit a few weeks ago, but it's when you talk about athletes, it's almost in the same kind of vernacular or same kind of mindset of why people draw towards veterans.
Yes.
Because there's a discipline. There's a there in my previous life, I came from franchising. I taught a class called The Winner's Edge, and it
Okay.
was the whole thing about everything you do is a win-win.
Yeah.
It's not a I pull harder than you.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, if we all pull the rope, we all raise whatever we're raising, the
In the same
sails, the
direction.
flag.
Yep.
Right. It's the mentality, and that says a lot. So when you're looking for athletes or you're looking for talent, I mean
Yes, sir.
that's always the phrase everybody uses. I think of a football coach, Coach Joe Gibbs.
Yep.
He coached the Redskins and now he owns a NASCAR team. He always talks about, I don't hire a position, I hire talent,
Yes, sir.
and talent finds positions. So when you're looking for talent and when you're trying to do they just naturally flock to you, or are you out there searching every day?
No, we don't search. And I was pretty adamant. Actually, Tyson's was one of the only walk-ons at this team that him and I really hit it off. But as you were just saying, like he comes with more than just being an amazing builder, amazing in the commercial space, and an amazing inspector. He's also got an architectural background, right? So he brings more than just an actual home inspection certification with him. And plus, the guy can talk and he looks good and he smells good and all that kind of stuff. One of the very funny things that I talk to the guys about, I'm like, do you guys wear pit stick? God, I mean, like presentation
Yeah.
and perception is everything in this industry because we're dealing with clients. But I don't go out of my way to look. I think in the very beginning I did a little bit, but I went after people that I knew. And they do say you never should work with family and friends. And I will say this, I'd rather work with family and friends and people that I know. And I'd rather know what's wrong with them and then think, okay, I can deal with that because I know how, if the good is outweighing the bad, then we're going to work together. And if we can show up, and I know this is very cliche to say family, but you said it right there. If we're pulling the rope in the same direction, and this is an actual team and a family, then we're all going to be very successful. We're going to go a lot further than if we would as an individual. So there's guys here that are multimillionaires. There's guys here that they could easily do this on their own, but we chose to work together for a number of reasons. Number one is that I like to go away on vacation every once in a blue moon. So when I come home, my jobs could be gone. I mean, if there's another me or another Tyson or another Rob, there's a good chance that I could lose some business. So we're here to protect this as a family and work together. And that's one of the big reasons why we work as a team. Plus, we can get more work done and we never have to say no.
Isn't that the greatest point? Is if you've got a deep enough bench, no matter where the situation goes, nobody's going to leave a call going, I can't use 2020 this week. They're at capacity. Because if that's the case, then one of you two failed, right?
Well, that's right. My wife jokes and she says, "You don't know how to say no." And I'm like, well, in business, I'm not going to. And that was one of the big things for us. Somebody calls, I'm going to find a way to get it done. I don't care if it's Christmas. But then I told her, I said, I guarantee if I was in prison, I'd know how to say no. But in business, no. I'm going to definitely say yes to everything.
There's something about, I would bet, as I'm just trying to think of the greatest compliment I ever got, was when somebody accused me of owning the company, which I never did. I was always a subordinate manager. I bet the way it sounds like in the mantras you're instilling in your team, I bet you that's a daily occurrence.
Well, you got good questions. Tyson, I think you could probably even ask, no one really knows who owns this company because it's structured in such a way that we have leads here. We have first line players here. I don't know if you're people that watch or listen to this, watch hockey or football or what have you, but you could take the
That's
Bulls.
their loss.
Bulls, or you can take hockey. But I always like to think about the 1986 Edmonton Oilers and Wayne Gretzky and Tikkanen and McTavish and listen, they were all first line players and they all had the ability to come together and no one really understood. Everyone needs to fit a role in order to win the Stanley Cups. No different than the Bulls and Michael Jordan and Pippen. It took a select, very structured group of people that are focused on one thing, creating good business. And it wasn't about chasing the money. It never has been and it never will be. And there's never it's my company or it's like my real estate agents. We share and it's a wash.
That's what I think. Whenever you have that level of care that everybody shares, I mean, I've heard it before for sure. Like, I've had an agent call me and be like, "No, I had the owner do my inspection before, but it was Todd or Ryan or one of the guys," and it just you're like, "Oh yeah, okay, one of the owners for sure."
Exactly. It's I've always been a matter of fact with our children, and so it's like you have supper. Is today a you cared day? Or is today I phoned it in and didn't really want to work too hard day? Because every day you've got an opportunity. Do you guys do 2 or 3 a day?
Well, I did 4 today. Believe it or not, we started at 5 o'clock this morning, but generally speaking, sorry, you want to answer that, Tyson? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah. So I think typically we're doing 3 a day, but in the summers we can push 4 because you can squeeze in that 6 o'clock one when the daylight allows. So
sure. So in our team, we always ran 3 a day, and you got 3 times a day to stand up on stage, own the room, and educate and have fun.
Yes, sir.
And if one of them is like, well, I don't really care, then good news. You're not going to care tomorrow either.
We don't want paycheck people. That you nailed that one. Like you said it exactly right. Stand up on stage, and I tell the guys, I'm like, it's like a first date. Do you want a second date? Do you want a third date? Then you need to put on a bit of a show. You need to give it a bit of an experience. You might want to get her to try and call you back. Otherwise, I mean, like, what are you doing out here? We want to have a little fun. Yeah.
There's so many inspectors that, in my opinion, that get caught up in the minutia of dollars.
Yes.
And instead of working every day, dollars will come.
Yeah.
You count the dimes, the dollars will follow.
Yeah.
And or you count the toonies or the loonies, and and the dollars will follow. But and they lose track of the fact, hey, I got a call. I need to make some money. Let me make a lot today.
Yeah.
Instead of let's go for the W.
Yeah.
Let's just win this job. Let's kill it because I get to eat what I kill. And if I ate today, tomorrow I get to eat again because they liked me. And it's
Yep.
just that rock that rolls down the hill.
That's a really good point. And some of the new guys that come on, this is a secret the whole world can hear. I'm not into like trying to like hoard my secrets. I'm out there trying to give away
Yeah.
my secrets to help other people become successful. And Tyson knows this better than anyone. Like when he started on, like, I think I said this to you, Tyson. I said, you need to find 15 people to really like you a lot. And you go eat craft dinner, never jump over a dollar to pick up dime, do a great business, do a good job, the money will follow. And 15 people, that equates to a huge amount of money if you can keep them happy. And if they want to go out and talk about you, guess how much money you're spending on marketing?
Nothing.
Not much, right?
Nothing.
Yeah.
And you're 15 for Tyson. I used to tell my team it takes 50.
Okay, well that'd be great.
Because
Yeah.
because you've
I
got
gotta
the
turn
high,
things up.
medium, and you got the high, medium, and lows.
That's
And
correct.
if you don't constantly keep filling your bucket,
Yep.
one comes in, one goes out. One comes in, one comes out. You showed up with bad breath. They're gonna fire you. You gotta you put some Trident in your mouth or pop a Tic Tac and let's go to work.
I would
So
like
yeah,
to work with
I
you,
think
man. Yeah.
I think we've got a pretty commonality here. But here's my question I have. Um, so you've built this large group, and I've watched your videos,
Yep.
and they've been informative and entertaining, and
Good.
that those are the two eyes. Yeah, I know entertaining's with an E, but they're the two. I'm public school. But those are the two things I'm always looking for.
Yeah.
What drew you to moving over doing commercial inspections?
Well, primarily, we're all resi, right? But I think a lot of people are mistaken. Like we do a lot of commercial inspections. Tyson, I don't know if you want to speak to that for a second. Like you're mainly
Yeah.
doing that right now, or do
Yeah,
you?
like one of the reasons why that I started looking at commercial and really and it's just taken off since then is that one of the commercial realtors that I did renovations for, he saw that I was doing inspections. I speaking with him and he said, um, I've been in the industry for 35 years. I don't have a go-to inspector. The reports aren't great. I don't like what the guys out here are putting together, and so I started doing them for him, and then and it kind of snowballs. It's a small group out here, anyways. Everyone seems to know everybody, and they all talk, and the word gets around.
Just to
It's a
reiterate,
lot less. It's a lot less cutthroat.
man,
So
this business is super cutthroat. I think still, no matter where, it seems like that all over North America, and we're trying to change that. That's probably another conversation one day that we should have. But like, just to
But
reiterate,
in commercial though, Lucas, I have found to Tyson's point
yeah,
that the commercial brokers are a little bit more together,
yep,
probably because there's less of them,
that's true.
and
That's true.
they're very much client oriented
Yeah.
versus the transactional realtors that might come from the residential side.
So to your point, lately, when you think about this, like it's no different than home inspections, except for this word that's called inventory, which I actually like because that's what we're actually doing on houses any which
Mhm.
way.
Yeah.
What we're finding is like commercial clients, no different than resi clients, are expecting more for 2025, including banks and including insurance companies. They want clarity, they want photos,
Mhm.
they want liability protection. This is $1 million deals that they're multi-million dollar
Yeah.
deals. And the big thing that they want, Rob, is fast turnaround. These guys are movers and shakers. They want to know what is going on. And that's why, like, we have risk ratings. We have ways of documenting that's a little bit different than anybody else. And we did that on purpose. And that is one of the reasons why our commercial division is currently blowing up.
It's to that point. I mean, you hear about due diligence firms taking 3, 4, 5 months to
Yep.
create a report.
I have an amazing example for you that I do want to share with you. This is what was it, 4 months ago that we did those 80 units, Tyson?
yeah, I think it's
So
four months.
there's 80 units, about 1,000 square foot of pop. We took 10 of our top and we did it. We started at, was it 8 in the morning? I don't know, it doesn't matter.
Nice and early.
But we were done at 6. The report was turned over at, I think, 7 or 8. And the next closest competitor, and they didn't believe that we could do it. This is a multi-million dollar investment firm. So they tried us and we produced. And that is really spun something nice into our business, the quick turnaround. Like, that is unconceivable for a lot of companies nowadays. But when you can work as a team, like we've been talking about all along, and simultaneously work on the same report, we're actually doing a more efficient job, and we're double checking, triple checking. And if we're doing a great job at CYA on us, we're in fact doing an amazing job of covering the butts of our clients, our agents, and the people lending the money. If that makes any sense. So like 10 guys, 80 units, 1,000 square feet. We were done in 1 day turnaround.
That's fantastic.
Thanks.
And the nice thing is it's a W, and you turn it into a marketing event.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes,
I mean, the way I look at it, a project like that, you got to train 8 guys, you got to get paid, you got to fulfill a client's needs, and you made it into a marketing. I mean, it is the perfect storm. So to that order, you've alluded to it a couple of times.
Yeah.
I know you struggled. I know with 2020 home inspections, you struggled when you launched and we had talked about this before, of what software, and you couldn't find the software you like to use. And so what did you do?
Well, like everything else, I am a psychopath and I don't sleep. And I decided, well, I'm going to rectify this and either keep doing what everyone else is doing, which generally is not a good idea. You go against the grain sometimes, and you take a risk, and maybe you become successful. So what I did was, I'm not slanting or going to say anything bad about anyone's software. I can say that every software comes with a pro and comes with a con. But I listened to our end user, and I listened to the agents, and I looked at the times that we're in. It's 2025. We looked at the social media. We looked at the way that people were gathering and digesting information. So, I think that I thought there was a huge hole there and a weakness that we could fill. So when we tested all these softwares before we started our own, the clunky, I'd call it the outdated, that might have been a little bit too complicated. It felt a lot like using Windows 95 in a world that expects something more current. And I wanted to modernize that. And so before even writing one line of code, we did a series of tests, and we did a series of polls. And these are thousands of people that we went through, and agents, to find out exactly what they wanted. So we wanted something that looked good, felt intuitive, and didn't require a massive amount of training. So I also wanted an app that you didn't have to continually update or that would be crashy. So we built it from scratch with one goal in mind: to make inspectors faster, even though I hate using that word. Let's just call it more efficient, while reducing liabilities, which I want to make a point here to say that since 2007 to current day, we've not been to court. I hope, where's wood, I'll knock on it. I hope that we don't go to work because of our systematic, procedural, step-by-step, Hans and Gretel breadcrumb approach of collecting information. So something that they really wanted was the reports to speak to them, right? So people that will take a report and digest a report will automatically talk about the reports, which is actually, if they're talking about us, they're marketing for us. So this is something that I wanted. I wanted a way to produce reports that were clean. Again, something that's readable, that they'll actually use and talk about. Because here's another point: 2007 to now, I think I don't know how much money I've spent on marketing. I want to say zero, but I definitely have some fees with my website. This is word of mouth. This is Google reviews. This is water cooler talk. And so if we could build that, that's why we built the software. Essentially, we did not build it for the app store. We did not build it to sell. I built it for the guys, simply to keep the batter consistent.
And so right now, you have and what's the name of the software?
Inspectagram.
Inspectagram.
We got in some trouble from Mr. Mark Zuckerberg about that one, the name, but we ended up winning that, and now it's a registered trademark.
Excellent.
Yeah.
He's gotten in trouble before. And some of the people he got in trouble with are billionaires as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So is this a software that's proprietary to you, or is it one that you want to show us that you actually have in the marketplace?
It's on the marketplace now on the Apple App Store, and we are working on the Android version. But we always think, like, when you're building anything, you want to start. I'm not even going to call this MVP because it's past that point. I wanted to build something really good here, and then we'll move to Android once it's super concrete. But we've also been using this now for like 7 years without a hiccup in our own world, and we only launched it last March, or excuse me, September 27th. And since that little what was that little thing that we did in Florida where I met you, it's been going gangbusters. So it's available to everybody, soon to be on Android, and it's a one-stop shop, meaning like there's no like jumping over a dollar to pick up a dime here with this project, meaning like you can collect your payments within the app. That's included in the price. There's 37 some odd templates within it, including the CCPIA template, specifically across the board to the T, the SOPs, and a number of other templates. And then at the very back end, our scheduling, which is coming very soon. We're about 2-3 weeks out max. And that's called Inspect the Hub, excuse me, where our contractual agreements are infused with our questionnaires and then dumped into a repository. So that was, sorry, I'm just going to back up and say, when you said, why do we make an app? Because I think it's, I don't know, I don't want to say silly, but why are we buying multiple apps to do one job? Why shouldn't it just be one job, or excuse me, one app that takes the payment, does the reporting methodology, and keeps track of your contracts and does your scheduling? That's what I want. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I watch an ad on TV and it says, "Are you looking to have all your cross platforms talk to each other? Use this AI." You know, so now I got to buy another thing to link the 5 things that I already own.
Yeah.
It's like,
hey, you know, you said something good there too. AI. Like, you know, remember when Blockbuster was around and then Netflix was like, "Hey, here we are. We're the new guys." And Blockbuster said, even though I actually miss going to Blockbuster, to be honest with you, but they had their opportunity, right? And a lot of people, you know, they have their opportunity now to see the future, and the writing's on the wall. If we're not using and working with AI, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. But if we can infuse it and protect this industry, then we're winning, right? So we also have AI now built into our app, not only from a helping standpoint, like having a virtual assistant on hand, but on the back end to our clients, like it's reading it like a podcast, like we're talking now. Some people like to read the reports, but some people like to listen and read the reports. So we're really aiming to innovate here, Rob.
I don't think AI will ever take the place of the eyeballs of an inspector and the intuition of the inspector. But I certainly think AI will enhance the inspector's ability to communicate intelligently.
That's the word, what you just said, enhance.
And not like a knuckle dragging ape like most of us.
Yeah, like Tyson. Just kidding.
Yeah.
No.
So do you have a chance to show it to us?
Yeah, but here, sure, I can give you a quick gander here. And actually, it's funny because here, I don't know if I can do that. You're gonna have to show me how I can share my screen to you. Oh, did I lose you guys?
Not yet.
Okay,
still got us here.
I think there's a little button on the bottom that says share.
I'm just trying to find that button there, bud. Okay, share. Let's see, screen.
Make sure you do the right screen.
Yeah, I'll make sure there's nothing up in the background there. Let's see if you guys can see. Can you see anything right now?
Your daughter.
Oh yeah, there's my daughter. So
right there, I see a report.
Yeah, so these are the reports that we're currently working on right, let's say today. I just popped one up. Obviously, if you wanted templates, these are all the templates that you can have. You can learn on the go. By the way, the software's got a simulation factor, meaning before you go out and drive that Porsche around the Nuremberg track, you should probably drive it a little bit slow. So when you buy an app or use an app like this, you can sit in your bed and do 20 reports in the comfort of your home, produce a report, feel comfortable enough to go out and actually do an inspection. But let's just back out of there and go to the CCPIA. CCPIA, I'll click into it. It's supposed to look and feel and taste and touch a lot like a magazine because that's what people want. So if you see at the bottom right-hand corner there, there's a menu button. I'll just go down to windows and doors for just a second. So I remember a little while ago, I just want to talk to you real quickly and give you a sneak peek. You were talking about doing, I don't know, what was it? Fire doors, wasn't it?
Sure.
Fire doors,
yeah.
That's one of the newer courses, I think, on the CCPIA there.
Yep.
That's come out.
And yesterday I was like, well, maybe we'll have a chance to show the software, but I said, why don't we just build a quick page? And if I wanted to drop in a fire door page right now, all I'd have to do is press edit, drop down to, where is it? Windows and doors. And if I hit that little plus button and I go, oh, I'm going to drop in the fire door, that just dropped it in right there. So what I'm going to show you is, remember how I was talking about Hansel and Gretel?
Yes.
A bit. So if I were to go to Hansel and Gretel, and I'll go down to windows and doors for a second, we'll just get down there. There it is. So there's the fire door page. I know that this is like new to different people and they just want to take photos, but like everything new is going to be hard. Change is hard. Just either you do it or you don't. The way that we systematically will gather information is just by simply pressing on something like this. I'll just take a picture of, but you have to pretend for a second, I guess, that that's a sticker. And if there was something wrong with it, I'd either rate it thumbs up or thumbs down. Why don't I give you a quick example of that? We'll go to the, where's plumbing? I'll also do plumbing. Where's the toilet? There it is. So if I were to take a photo of this toilet right here, Rob, and let's just give me anything, like the loose toilet we'll go with.
Loose toilet.
Leaking? Fine. So I'll give it a attention rating, and that will, it's already got predictive issues. So if I hit the thumbs down and excuse me, the drop down, well, we'll just go with unstable. It already knows what's wrong with it. The action is repair, replace, improve, what you want. Service advised, maintenance required, or you can type it in yourself or talk it in. Like that was another point of this software, is that I don't want to be typing. What I want to do is gather the information, get it out. Hang on a second. I'll delete that. Oh, did I lose you guys?
Nope.
No.
Still here.
No, I still got her. I got a lot of calls.
Now we're back in plumbing.
Okay, so we're back in plumbing. I give it an action of repair, replace, we'll call it. Let's put it in a summary note. Boom. So what that did is it's populated itself into the summary. And I can show you what that looks like on another report by simply just backing out of this report, because it's only going to be one thing. It would do this immediately. Oh, is there nothing in here right now? Let's go in there. Let's do that. So if all my entire inspection was done, I'd go like this, boom, done. So I'm just trying to show you the idea of like when you take a photo of a toilet, you put in the issue, the action, the consequences. All I'm doing really is essentially taking a photo, making a rating, putting in the issues, the actions, again, consequences, maybe some verbiage that I want extra. And now I can focus on my client in communication, and I can actually do more of my job, which is inspecting. So it's just a brief peekaboo.
Let me ask you this, Lucas, real quick.
Yep.
So on your summary that we're seeing right now,
Yes, sir.
which is fantastic, it just says exterior outlet, missing cover, wiring issue, action, and notes. Now, in the body of your report, do you have a longer narrative?
I do. So let's go
see
to that one
that.
exactly. So this is what we found, again, from working backwards with our clientele. You know what an outlet is, and I know what an outlet is, and you know what a door is and a toilet, but a lot of people don't know what an inducer motor is, or a flux capacitor for that matter. So in these studies that that we've done, people wanted to know what the component was. They wanted it defined. Then they wanted to know, is there a problem? And let's get on with it. Nowadays, we're living in a world where people skim. They're not reading heavy, noisy volumes of reports and generated text that really doesn't matter anymore. They just want get to the point, as you can see on TikTok and any social media for that matter. So Twitter did it best. They character counted what you could put in. I'll go to that outlet. Where does it say? Exterior outlet, weatherproof outlet covers are preferred. Tested for functionality, missing cover, wire issue, further evaluate, repair. How much more do you actually need to move the needle that this thing needs to be fixed? It gives you a photo, it gives you the issue, and it gives you the action, right? So end of the day, again, I just listen to my end users. And, you know, some guys will say, well, no, I just want to do what I want to do. And I say, well, we're missing the mark here. Our clients matter. Yes, we have to follow our SOPs, but what do they want? And all we needed to do was follow exactly what social media is doing nowadays. Every CEO, president, and what have you is on TikTok and Twitter, and that's how they're digesting information.
Yeah.
Did you guys on this again? Sorry.
No, all good. What I like about the software as an inspector, and it really shines in commercial, I find, because one of the biggest things with commercial is just the variety of components that you get. You know, whether you're doing a restaurant or a warehouse, or if you're doing a swimming pool or an ice rink, like you'll be looking at there in Springdale, Arkansas, coming up here for your next course there. You know, there's so many unique components, and you can add new components, or you can make pages where you need to document different components of the you know, that are all related, like with the fire doors, like we showed you there. It just seems to really shine in commercial, I find. So
So do you have the opportunity to like in commercial, so often I might go to a building that might have 40 electric panels. Do you have that capacity to be able to go, I'm going to put 40 electric panels in this report quickly?
You can, absolutely. And you can keep them, you can strategize a play here to keep it individually separate, or you can do it all on the same page, like four at a time with supportive photos. Our whole goal again was telling a story with pictures, and that's the world we're living
Yep.
in. From the ancient Egyptians and hieroglyphics to today, nothing's really changed. Especially look no further than Japan. Iconology, illustrations, step by step, and photographic evidence is the way of the future, and it always will be. So I just wanted to really quickly show you here that what Tyson was talking about. But there's 7,200 individual components. You tell me when to stop, and I'll stop. Well, I'll just stop here for no reason. It's got its own predictives because this is not AI. This is from guys like Tyson, guys like yourself, Rob, and me, who've built these homes that know that, you know, toilets only got about 10 things that are going to go wrong with it. If you can't find it, then just put it in with your words. But to your answer, or to your question, yeah, you can. If you want to do the space shuttle, go ahead and do it. You can with this.
That's outstanding.
Thanks.
And Tyson, you've been driving this around the commercial ballpark. You know, you know, has it done everything you've ever wanted it to do?
Oh yeah. So like I said, because of you know, most houses are kind of the same, whereas commercial can vary so greatly. You know, I spend you know, 5-10 minutes the night before pre-building my report, you know, going through the listing and seeing what components I think will come up. And then I can when I show up to site, I'm all ready to go. In when I need to add things, like you could see how easy it is there, just dropping in pages, adding components. So
That's terrific. Now,
it's
now
been a
let me
game
ask you
changer.
the magic question, because this question comes up so often in other softwares. Is the app, the thing on that tool of ignorance you carry in your back pocket, is that the ultimate end, or do you have to go back, sync it to a computer,
No,
and then manipulate data?
man, you're asking great questions. So, you know, I had a guy, he's got quite a big team in Chicago, and they're using it now, and they're used to using iPads, and that's fine and dandy. And then again, I'll just give you some information on 92 point some odd percent of businesses conducted on phones nowadays. There's no more need to use this computer. We have this amazing camera on the front of one of these phones, and the iPads and the tablets just don't have it. And how are you supposed to shove that into the back of an inducer motor exactly? So when I say it's end to end on the phone, meaning like, I don't care if you're in the middle of Timbuktu with no Wi-Fi, you can still do a team inspect. You definitely need Wi-Fi to be able to send an email, of course, but the second that you're done your inspection, you should almost be buttoned up enough to be able to send or share with QR code on site. But yeah, it's all end to end on the phone, meaning you send it, there's no syncing, there's no nothing. You don't really need to do much of anything other than take a photo, be smart enough not to be a hyper alarmist and make a correct rating, and send it on its way.
What if you're one of these people who's like me? I might take 1,000 photos during an inspection and
Sure.
only want to use 300 of them.
Yep.
Do I have that capacity to have the other 700 of them be what I would
Attached.
call silent or hidden?
Oh yeah. So like, see, this is it's kind of hard to explain that one, because the way that we systematically and procedurally walk through a report, there should be well, if you have extras and you want to keep them in the report, by all means. At the very end of a report, you have the capabilities of literally deleting pages out and or saving those photos. But 700 photos on one inspection, that's a lot. I mean, generally speaking, we're doing about 245 per house, and I don't know how many exactly on the commercial side of things, but what I take a photo of, I include in my report, because I don't want to store a ton of photos in I don't know, some Google Drive or what have you, and then try to find them at a later date. And also, you know, this is one thing I don't think that you knew about me, but I married a lawyer and I built a lot of homes for lawyers. And sometimes just take the photos, put it in there. It's been vetted. And when I say basically what you have is what you should give. And at the end of the day, those photos, if they're marked, time stamped, location stamped, and all that, it's going to serve you well in court. My wife always says it's better to have a photo and not need it than to need it and not have it. So you might as well just keep it in the report.
Yeah, 'cause maybe that's my bias of every software I've used has had was not commercial driven.
Right.
And
Right.
and so I'm more of a dash and shoot inspector where
Right.
I'll go through a building, click, 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 and then I'll go back and I'll sort later.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
it-
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I was just gonna say you can absolutely do that. If you're taking pictures on your phone, you can drop them in later. You could build the page. If you're just trying to go take pictures, it's easy, something easy to drop in. But the way the report's set up where we just have components added in as we go. I mean, I know my kids appreciate it when I can come home and I don't have to flatten a report and go
Mhm.
through the whole process of that. It gives us a little bit more time after the job. So
Sure,
Actually,
I get that because I mean I'm so used to being semi handcuffed.
that's what we're trying to change, Rob, is what Tyson just said. Like, I'm a dad. I've got a little girl, Frankie Rose. It's very important to me that when I get home, I get the time to spend with her. I don't want to spend hours and hours and hours writing reports. We figured out a system again that's procedural and systematic, and it could be. Some people still want to do it the old way. That's fine. I mean, there's many
Mhm.
different ways of gathering information. This way means that yes, you'll spend 15 minutes after probably tidying it up and maybe putting some circles and arrows on the pictures. But isn't the goal here to have a business that's lucrative that also will give you your time back so that you can
Yeah.
spend with your wife and go fishing? I mean, like that is the ultimate goal for me. And then
Mhm.
grow your company and scale your company through an app that you can do it with. I mean, it's not like this is Big Brother, but you do have full control of who's doing what, when, why, and where. And you can see from a dispatch standpoint, or make it so that they can't send out the report until it's been fully vetted by the authority or the principal of the company.
that's it.
Boom. That prevents moonlighting.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, there's
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it does. But but in a way, like if I could tell anyone like some business advice, if you don't mind me just putting it out there, like I told Tyson, dude, you could do this on your own. Like you don't need me. I don't need you.
Mhm.
What I'm gonna do here is try and Stockholm you. I'm gonna try to make you fall in love with me so much that you'll never want to leave me or screw me over. And Tyson, I mean, obviously you're gonna say nice things, but like I've done everything in my power to make it so that this whole company is all of our company, and that's why
Mhm.
since no one's left, really, have they?
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
one's
no,
left us. No, I don't
and
think
I
I've
mean,
fired anyone.
in our industry, I know that it can be isolating as well. Like some people think, everyone else is my competitor. We started kind of meeting with some more inspectors in town. We did a breakfast the other day with about a dozen of us, and you know,
Marty Keogh and those
yeah,
guys.
you're meeting up with a bunch of guys you like talking about the stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know that everyone's got stuff to share from things that they've seen. So
Yeah.
I'd encourage people to go out and make friends with the other inspectors in town, and there's always that chance that you can kind of work together on things, especially with
Well,
big commercial projects and things like that.
exactly. That's why I've always called them coopetition. They're colleagues,
Yeah.
but they're also competition. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm I'm one of these weird people that I get on a plane and the first thing I look for is who am I going to eat when we crash? It's
That's a little
and
bit
if there's any
extreme, but
turbulence,
okay.
it might be somebody's arm in
Yeah.
my mouth. But I think of the same thing in this industry. I mean, I've been here for 35 years and I've always maintained huge friendships in my marketplace because they're all colleagues
Yeah.
that
So
I'm going to
important.
kill in their
Yeah.
sleep, but they're all colleagues.
Okay.
Uh,
To your point
but
about why aren't we all getting along? It just seems like my home inspector, oh, I don't want to talk to that guy or this guy. And it's a it shouldn't be. It should be a team. I was surprised when we came in. We're trying really quickly here now to bridge the gap of communication between real estate agents, clientele, and other home inspectors. And if everyone would just buy in and bite into the Kool-Aid that we're actually here to help each other instead of like 100%, I don't know, cut the knees out behind the new guy coming in, then we're going to have a bright future ahead of ourselves. Because I still believe that home inspections and commercial is still very much at its infancy, and inspections just in general on a whole is we're all going to innovate and probably drive this off into another generation. So we better protect it, right?
I think the industry is only 50 years old. I
Yeah.
think my side, the commercial side, is less than a decade old. And there's still a lot of inspectors running around getting game misconducts
Yeah.
for doing some heinous things to other inspectors because they have this attitude of I'm self-unemployed.
Yeah.
It's I go to bed on a Saturday night. I got no work for next week, and I hope people buy properties. So I work next week, and every job that comes in, I'm going to do everything I can to say bad things
Yeah. You
about
never
other
trust those
people.
guys. So that's, I told the guys, never talk ill about anyone, even if they're bad people. Because I don't trust the person that ever says anything bad to me about somebody else behind their back. I mean, like, if you're going to say it to the face, different story. But like, yeah, like we need to change this industry a little bit. It's a little bit too negative, and there's a bit of a stigma. I don't know, like there has been for years. I don't even think Tyson, neither one of us thought about becoming home inspectors, but we thought, why not? You know, why not try and change it for the better?
I made this choice back in '89 when I graduated college. That's a long time ago. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you go to, are you just strictly commercial then? Is that like,
In 2016, I did my last home inspection,
okay, got ya. Do you think
vowing never to do another one. And so to that order, Tyson, what's your goals for the rest of this year going into next year?
Well, I mean, we've got inspectors in different provinces as well. And I mean, I think I know commercial is really taking off here. It would be to go out and get the other locations really going with commercial and making sure we're all on the same page. And yeah.
Then I go to Lucas. Are you going to rebrand?
Rebrand from, no, because 2020 is like a, well, one thing I said in the very beginning was that 2020 and Co is our inspection firm, but we also have Mr. Poop, but 2020 commercial, we have 2020 Atlanta. We just keep it 2020 and then we keep it below and just put a name on it. But if I had to say goals for us, like, yeah, expansion's great and this and that, and franchising's fun, but like really at the end of the day, it's changing, gently rocking the industry a little bit in the direction of innovation and helping others, like guys that really want to start their own business that might have not had the opportunity beforehand to do such, with an application that will do a lot of it for you in the way of like end to end. So giving somebody the ability that has the talent to use this as a tool to become a productive member of society and build a brand and a company is my goal right now with Inspectagram.
Well, my compliment I'll give you guys is, and it's a high one, you're disruptors. And being a disruptor can influence a lot of direction. And I like what I'm seeing in your software. Boy, I love hearing your message. I love hearing that you grow a team that nobody wants to leave.
Yeah.
And that's important. And that's important for consistency, but it's also important for the industry.
Well, that means a lot.
I thank you,
Rob. That means a lot because we know how well respected you are in the community, and we're very excited just to be a part of all of this. I will say one last little thing to any new guy that's listening to this, and especially if you played sports, and you know this, Rob and Tyson. This, at the very end of the day, if I could say two words, it's about mental flexibility. Okay. That just is the indicator that I've seen of every successful individual in any business. If you can be flexible enough to change and convert and innovate, you'll be successful in any industry.
Yeah. Semper Gumby, always flexible.
What's that?
Semper Gumby,
always
flexible.
Greek? I like it.
Gumby was that rubber character in the old cartoons.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Always flexible.
Yeah.
I like that, guys. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. I sure do appreciate this. And I look forward to seeing more about Inspectagram, and I want to hear more about 2020 commercial inspections.
You got it.
And all your successes moving forward.
Well, thanks so much for having us. Yeah,
my pleasure.
For having us, Rob.
Thank you again.
Thanks, Rob. Take care.